Hey, everybody. Welcome back to a moderately good podcast. Once again, I know that everyone is listening and everyone's coming back. You're not missing an episode. You know, why would you miss an episode?
Why would you?
Just quick starters like I have been doing here in the past. Shout out to my guy, Joe at Above Average Joe Pro that does all my video and audio and stuff like that. And then shout out to my guy, Hunter. His clothing line is Young October. You can find that at youngoctober.com. And then my newest sponsor that we just signed on the dotted line for this deal. It was a pretty easy deal. I was just like, hey, you're my friend. And so I'm just going to let you advertise on my podcast that the 15 people are listening to. And, maybe they don't know about things like this. So, my good friend Mo, say hi.
Mo, hey.
And really quickly, so as my new sponsor, I'm gonna let you do the first intro to it. So
I just want you to take a look at my shirt.
Well, but I mean, if the video fails, which is it's happened before, you might want to just say it out loud to the mic so people know.
So I have a mobile detailing application where you can just book a wash or a detail, and it comes straight to wherever you are. So it's detail on demand. And it's an app. If you have an iPhone, it's on the App Store. If you have an Android, it's in the Play Store. So it's very convenient, easy to use. You don't have to go wait in the lines for 30 minutes. You could have your coffee in the morning or record a podcast. And by the time you leave, your car's clean. So
are you gonna call, during the podcast? Are you gonna hit them up? Can they do my car right now?
Well, you'd have to book the app yourself, book the wash yourself through the app.
But if I would have booked it before we started the podcast, then
somebody would have came and done it for you.
Dang, man! And then you'd be here to inspect it and make sure that the work was
exactly.
good.
Or I might have to go out there and detail it for you.
We could do undercover boss. I could put a wig on you.
I come in, fill out
how are you cleaning my truck? You know what I mean?
But yeah, so definitely try it out sometime. And
what is it called again?
It's called Go Bubble.
Go Bubble.
And that's all you got to type in it's all you have to type in the App Store, or the Play Store is Go Bubble Detail, and just look for the bubble.
That's it. Look for the bubble.
Look for the bubble.
Is that the tagline? Look for the bubble.
It should be.
Well, I mean, it's your company, bro. Just copyright that shit. We're done.
It should be.
All right, let's just mark the time right now because we want to make sure that anybody tries to take the bubble. What'd you say called again?
Go Bubble.
Go Bubble. No, but I mean, go to the bubble?
Oh yeah.
What'd you say? Did you say go to the bubble?
Just go to the bubble.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it.
We're just documenting it right now.
Did we document it?
Yeah, because it's on now. We've recorded this and we have proof. Yeah.
On a Monday.
Nope. Well, I mean, but yes, on a Monday, the 16th, we'd make sure we'll put it all at the end. At the end.
Perfect,
we don't want to bore them with the details of
litigation,
copywriting,
and
and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
We'll leave that for the lawyers.
Yeah. So how you been, my man?
Excellent. It's good to be here. I'm excited to be here.
You're a fresh graduate, bro.
I'm a fresh grad.
And now you're officially a smart person. Is that right?
I mean, I guess you would say that.
Well, you're an engineer, right? What'd you get your degree in?
So it's a computer science engineer with a concentration in computer engineering, and I have a minor in applied mathematics. So
you're
the
smart.
whole engineering spectrum.
You're real smart.
I mean, I wouldn't say that.
You're good with numbers.
I'm okay with numbers.
You're like Ben Affleck in that movie, The Accountant.
Exactly. No. Funny story is I've always been an average student. I've never been. It's just the way I was. I was well-rounded in everything, but never excelled in a certain field. So I was able to knock it out. It did take me a little bit longer than it should.
It don't matter.
Hey, I made it happen.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
And it feels weird now not having to worry about going to class or what assignments I have due.
See, that's how you can tell that you're a smart person, because people like me, once I got out of college, I didn't miss. There was nothing I missed. I was just like, yay, I'm out. You know what I mean? I didn't reminisce or think about or get backflashes about nothing. I was just like, I'm out of here. It's like,
but did you ever hear of post grad depression?
I mean, I didn't have it. That's for sure.
That's a thing.
But I mean,
I don't know. I haven't gone through it yet, but based on like,
It sounds like you are.
I feel like I might be. I don't know.
So what do you, is that, are you serious? It's a post-grad
depression.
So what do you know what defines it by chance?
Okay, from what I learned, post-grad depression is basically that period of time, usually the first couple of months of after you graduate, where it's exciting that you're done, yet you have been so accustomed to being in school and, you know, having a bunch of things on your plate in that regards that you kind of miss it.
Yeah, bro. I didn't go through that at all. I didn't have
you're stuck. You don't know how to start a new career, and you don't know where to start and how to start.
Yeah, that was more of my problem, and like it just felt like it kind of was like, well,
it's hard.
I was like, I guess I'm gonna wait tables forever. I mean, that's what it felt like. You know what I mean?
It's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
and I definitely think that I've always been an entrepreneur by trait. I would say,
Yeah.
like that's always been something that
You just kind of have that mindset, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Your dad,
And-
you learned that from your dad. Your dad's kind of like that, right?
Well, actually, no. My dad's more. He's always been the type of guy where you study, graduate, get a job, work, you know, in your career field, excel in your career field, and that's it. He never really took risks, but that's just because the way that, you know, he didn't take, you know, crazy risks because it's just the way that he was raised was a little bit different. You know, I'm more of a risk taker. Being a second generation, you know, educated individual, I feel like I'm more open and I have a higher risk tolerance than he did at my age.
I think it's okay though.
Which is okay. It's true.
Yeah.
And it definitely molds you differently.
So where do you think you got that from? Where do you think you learned that from? Like, did you think you were just born like that? Like you, it just instinctively, or what? What do you think?
I think that it kind of goes back to, man, that's a tough one. I think for me, it was instinctively. Like I've always tried to find different ways to.
Were you like when you were a little kid? Were you like a hustler when you were like? So give
even
me
like through school. And
give me one of your little kid hustles. I have little kid hustles.
pencil cases.
What?
Yeah, there used to be these really cool pencil cases when I was in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I used to live overseas, in the Middle East, overseas, and there would be like a little Pepsi pencil case with a soccer team on it, and okay, I would actually steal them.
Oh no! Hey, but you know, like you know, I don't know, Jay-Z. You know, Jay-Z started out selling drugs. So I mean, everybody in the beginning, their hustle is different, or it's the same but different.
God.
You know what I mean?
I got in so much trouble. I will never forget that. It's imprinted. You know, it's imprinted in me.
I
Like,
had
I'll
one
never forget that because I actually got in trouble for doing it.
Hey, I had one way worse. Mine was way worse. I think I've actually even talked about it on the podcast before, but I got caught like stealing hood ornaments off cars. Like,
That's hilarious. But that was a thing. It
was just a thing. Yeah, like it's. I mean, you know, like so, and you know, I don't know. Kids get in trouble. You know, kids do dumb stuff. You know what I mean? I don't know what the appropriate punishment is for everybody, but like, you know, I mean, it just happens. So you better figure out how you're going to discipline your kids, I guess. You know what I mean?
I mean,
how did your parents like? Did they get you? Like it was a sting?
It was.
Like you had like a.
Luckily, it wasn't a sting operation. You know, that would have been funny.
What if one of your friends had like ratted you out to your parents?
I think that's what happened. I think one of my friends ratted me out to the teacher that I took a pencil. Okay, and when you said, okay, what was your hustle at a young age? And this was probably like 3 pencil cases in. It wasn't that far. You know what I mean?
You weren't like a long time pencil case dealer?
No, it was 3 pencil cases in, and I you know, yeah.
Hey, you said your mom's gonna listen to this podcast, right?
My mom's definitely gonna listen to the podcast.
Okay, is she gonna be shocked that you were? Well, she was. I mean,
she's the one who
busted you on the pencil hustle.
She busted me on the pencil hustle, and yeah.
But hey, mom, he learned his lesson.
I learned my lesson.
See,
and this was in Qatar in like 1998.
Okay, so give me some reference of what that means.
So in Qatar, we call it Qatar, but trying to have people understand where that location is. That's in the Middle East. It's on the Gulf, and beautiful country. Again, I was young at the time that we lived there, and yeah, I went to school there for about 3 years, and it was my during elementary school, and that's when I got caught with the pencil case.
And so, what do you remember? What your punishment was?
I just remember that being caught was more than enough. Like I was instantly like
You didn't? Did you
crying, and
Did you do it again?
no, I did not actually.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
never did it again.
Yeah,
that was the end of it. 3 pencil cases in. I still remember the pencil case. It was a blue Pepsi pencil case with a soccer team on it. Don't remember what the soccer team was, but it was like a rectangular shape.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you this so that I don't do it, but I would have loved to have found that pencil case and found your address and like mailed it to you for Christmas.
Oh my God.
And then it would just show up and you'd be like, what the fuck is this?
How did this happen?
But I said it out loud so that I won't do it. So now if it shows up,
Hey,
you're just
now
like, oh,
everybody knows.
Scott got me a gift.
Nobody knows about my secret. Now, the world will know.
I mean, that you're in love with these pencil cases.
I was in love with pencil case. Oh, and
It would just be cool to see them. Like it would just be cool to see what it was. You know what I mean?
it's burned into my
Like as a
brain.
yeah. It's one of those things, right? It's one of those things that's kind of like it's like burned in, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Can we give a shout out to while I open it
Yeah. Everybody open it on the mic. That's what everybody else seems to do.
right here?
Like yeah,
like it's my
like
I'm gonna have to move this way a little bit.
yeah,
Isn't that so satisfying?
yeah. Well, I just like how no matter what kind of can you open, minus like a Guinness can, everything sounds the same.
Mom, this is not beer. It's water.
Yeah. We better be clear. We better be clear that this is water. So like
Just better to drink it out of a can than plastic.
yeah.
Simple.
Hey,
as that.
what is doesn't Jason Momoa? He has like water in a box or something like that, right?
Is there water in a box? I've never tried one. Oh, actually, I have tried water in a box.
Take a look
Little blue-
inside.
Yeah.
It's water in a box. That should be their commercial. That would be, and just Dustin Timberlake jumps
I think
out.
you should
He's like,
reach out.
It's water in a box, girl. It's water in a box.
I think you need to reach out and let them know that, hey.
Well, I mean, they're probably gonna listen. That's what I've already established.
Oh, they will.
Yeah. So, okay. So, because I'm really curious about this, what was the process in building like an app? Like, how did you go about like getting an app built and put on the Apple Store? And you don't have to get into like great detail, but just kind of like the steps that you went through to make that happen. Because even though people have the internet and Google, sometimes it's just like it's more confusing than it is just actually hearing it from someone that's done it. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, first you got to come up with the idea. Step one, of course, right? And it's crazy.
Grilled cheese on demand. That's my.
You could, hey, it could work. You never know.
That's all the grilled cheese.
Unlimited grilled cheese.
Anyway, sorry. I'm sorry.
That's all right. So, I mean, the point of apps is really for convenience, right? Mm-hmm. If they're not games, it's convenience. And
Yeah.
That's what you want to connect the dots between a product and the consumer. And what had happened with this application specifically was I was looking for a certain business to start after selling another business. And I've never been the kind of person that just kind of like dwindles around. I like starting things and like trying to see how far we can get with it and take it as far as possible. And I met this gentleman who was my partner, amazing guy. He's a brother to me basically. And he's an amazing programmer. And yeah.
So okay, let me just see if I got this straight. Step 1, you need an idea. Mm-hmm. Step 2, you need somebody that can make an app.
You need someone that can make an app. Or you can pay. It's expensive.
So you brought him on as a partner, and y'all were going to.
Yeah, we
worked out a deal.
Well, we actually brainstormed the idea. We're brainstorming ideas back and forth.
So you're partners.
Yeah, we're partners.
He just happens to know how to make an app.
He happens to know how to program like anything to the detail.
Wow.
And that's actually where let's say I fell in love with the idea of being able to create something out of code. And I actually switched my major at that time. I went from electrical engineering. This was 2 years ago. I was going to be an electrical engineer. And I was halfway done. And I was like, I wasn't really enjoying it. I did an internship with a data center. And hardware.
It's kind of boring.
Oh
huh?
my God, it was, dude. Like I did not. I don't know how people do how they do it.
Yeah, bro, you were flipping pencil cases at 4.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I mean, you can't
and
be.
now I got to be in a data center.
Yeah, you can't be in a data center. Come on.
Like childhood me would think poorly upon older me, you know?
Yeah.
So
it's like, come on, bro, we're flipping pencil cases, and now you're just like in some room.
now you're in a data center.
Data centers is bullshit.
So yeah, I switched my major, and it was a breeze after that. You know, fast forward 4 versions of the application. You know, user interface is important, and we're both more on the back end of actually just creating the application and not how the user interacts with it. So it was a learning process for both of us. But I learned a lot from him, definitely, like throughout the whole process. And I think that after you nail step 2 of knowing or how to program, again, you can always hire a company to do it for you, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg depending on how complex the application is.
I would say probably knowing someone that knows how to do it is a lot better.
It is. Yeah, definitely. So just cut them in.
I thought there were more steps. I thought that,
there's a couple more steps. So,
sure.
Yeah. I think the most difficult part, we're still in the beginning stages, right? I think the most difficult part after developing the application is bringing it to the market and how you're going to market it to the consumer and to the, just to the consumer in general, which can be both sides, both the user and the person that's putting out the doing the detailing work.
So, earlier we were talking about like when you like signed the koozie, you were talking about like, you know, manifest, right? Is that how you feel about this? Like, is this part of kind of what you were talking about when you did that?
I think so many steps along my path, the more that I believed in manifestation, have actually happened. You know, like that was definitely one of those situations. At the time of when I met the individual, because I was thinking like, hey, I need to do something. And I kept thinking about that. Kept thinking about it, but also pursuing it. Not just thinking about it and not putting any action behind it. And again, that's the most important thing. If you want to manifest something, I believe personally, this is my opinion.
No, it's okay to believe things. You're like you don't have to.
But
yeah.
you know, like,
go ahead.
If you want to manifest something into reality, I think you have to put some action behind it. You can't just think it and imagine it and not do anything that's going to help you achieve it. You know what I mean?
I think that, and we kind of touched on this before we talked, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But like, it's like in the Christian religion, like people are expecting these big miracles and not understanding that the way he kind of works is he does that through people. Like you have to interact with people. You know what I mean? And I don't know, and we'll probably get into it in a minute. But like, to me, that's kind of what manifesting something, like, you know, it's what you put forward. Like we were talking about paying it forward earlier, right? Like, would you agree or no?
I mean, I do think it's what you but again, you're putting an action behind it, right?
Right.
So
something. That's
the most important thing, is putting that action behind it and trying to pursue it. Like when you're talking about religion, for example, or Christianity, right? And I'm Muslim.
Yes.
So
we were going to talk about it anyway.
This is like perfect entry point.
Yeah. yeah. It's great. You know what I mean? It's just total sidebar. It's really cool how a lot of these conversations just really flow like really easy. I mean, and just like stuff comes up that I wanted to talk about anyway, you know.
And they're interconnected, right? So
yeah. I mean, that's it. We're all interconnected.
Absolutely.
And like some people are fucking up the connection. You know what I mean? And like, so, you know,
but those people are not in tune with.
Well, I think it's hard. I think there's a lot of distractions, a lot of things. That don't, you know, like it's like when you came in tonight, you were like, "Hey, I don't want to drink." Like, you know what I mean? Like I have things I have to do. Like I'm focused right now because you're trying to get a job and all that stuff, right? And I admire that. You know what I mean? And
that's just like goes back to like, you know, being in tune, you know, so
or like if you're going to manifest something, you got to do it. You got to
put some action behind it.
Yeah. Like, which is like, hey, I'm going to make sure that like I kind of stay focused through this process or whatever it is. Right.
So perfect. Again, perfect point.
Okay, anyways, yeah, go ahead.
Going back to religion, right? Being a Muslim, right? People get the notion of, hey, you have to pray 5 times a day and follow these rituals. Boom, 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 right? But it's more than that. I believe it's more than that. And I don't think that if a person's praying, you know that we have to pray 5 times a day. Do you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Okay, so in Islam, that...
Okay, so just go ahead and assume I don't know anything.
Okay, yeah, so...
Because I would rather just have a conversation around it where you're telling me than me to guess stuff.
Okay,
and I
perfect.
can ask questions accordingly.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, because I just want to learn.
So, like, in Islam, you have to pray 5 times a day. It's one of the pillars, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that praying 5 times a day is important. But what's more important than that is your acts of kindness.
How you treat people.
How you treat people.
Right.
So, do I believe, for example, a person that prays 5 times a day, is that person going to go to heaven? And the person that doesn't pray 5 times a day, but he has great acts of kindness and this person doesn't, is he going to go to heaven or not going to go to heaven because he doesn't pray 5 times a day? I don't believe that. I think it's more about your actions in life. I don't think it's only just in the rituals. The rituals are just, I guess, to remind you, to stay closer to whoever you believe is a higher power, if you believe in a higher power.
Well, I mean, like, it's weird because I'm just going, like, everything you're saying, I'm like, to me, that's what Christianity should be. That's what Christianity should be. That's how
The
that's
Abrahamic
how that's
religions,
supposed to,
they're all kind of
like that's how that's supposed to work. But I feel like that. Am I understanding you correctly? That when you talk about the problems of your religion, and I wonder if they just sound similar to the problems of Christianity.
Well, the main misconceptions about my religion is, as you see and people see all the time, is, like, okay, they completely assimilate it with like terrorism, for example,
right?
Which is huge. That's like, and that's, there's nowhere in the religion does it talk about doing anything like that ever. The name of the religion is Islam. Islam means peace.
Right.
That's what it means. It means peace. So, like, I think it's a guideline to a way of life. You don't have to be. Again, a lot of religions say like, "Oh, we're the chosen people, so we're gonna go to heaven only." Or, "No, we're the chosen people. We're gonna go to heaven only."
I think doesn't every religion say that they're the only ones going to heaven?
Yeah, that's.
Hey, somebody's not getting in.
That's what it is. It's like, how can that be true? Like, just logically
unless
speaking,
it's just way bigger than we thought.
I think it has to go back with your acts. Like, it just goes back to how are you as a person overall? That's it.
Yeah,
it's simple.
It's real simple.
It's simple as that. Don't be an asshole throughout your life. Treat people well. Pay forward.
Right.
And I think good things will come to you, and hopefully to the people that
Well, I mean, you know what? I mean, like, yeah. At the end of the day, you will believe whatever you want to believe. Like, no one can force you to believe anything. I'm sure that people leave the Christian religion all the time. People probably leave your religion all the time. I mean, you know what I mean? So whatever happens after this, I mean, we don't know. But I mean, whatever you believe in, I guess, I hope that's the one.
True.
I'm hoping they got, you got a backstage pass or something.
But on the way while you're doing that,
you could treat everybody nice. You could just be a nice person.
Just be a good person as much as you can.
Well, and that's why we talked about like why me and you get along so well, right? Like, we've hung out, and I mean, our growing up couldn't probably be any different.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure
really, like, I grew up in a town of 5,000 people. You know what I mean? And you weren't born for like 3 months. Like,
okay, that's
no, that's what you said. You said like that you were born, but you weren't really born. So when do you celebrate your birthday?
So this is actually okay. So all my life, this has always been like.
So you get 2 birthdays?
I get 2 birthdays.
Shut up.
And everybody around me has to celebrate those 2 birthdays. Otherwise, we're not friends. Okay, if you don't, you don't call me on that day 2 times a year. Okay.
Hey, so it's the same day, but just
no.
Wait, it's different days?
3 months apart.
Yeah, but it's the same day, right?
Well, no. Here, let me.
No. I mean, it's the same numerical day.
Like throughout the year, those 2 days, those two separate birthdays.
No, like so if you were born if you were born on like I don't know March 26th, but then you're not really born until like March, April, May 26th, right? That would be exactly 3 months. Is it exactly 3 months?
It's exactly 3 months.
Okay, so what do you just tell me what your two birthdays are?
March 1st.
Okay.
And June 1st.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's same numerical number.
Okay, yeah, that's what it is.
Good Lord.
That's it. You're right. So, yeah, I was born, I was actually born March 1st. And it's kind of a weird story. I never really got the full details about exactly what happened until, later age. And I never really questioned it because I didn't know.
Did they were giving you two birthdays as a kid?
Not really.
When did you start getting two birthdays?
Ah, man. To be honest, I think
The first time you made your mom feel guilty
it was
for
probably
having
like 12 or 13. And I don't know how the conversation started, but they were like, yeah, actually you were born on, this
So
day.
what did you think your birthday was?
March
June?
1st.
Oh, you thought it was March?
No, I thought my birthday was June
1st.
But I'm actually born, so you can see how that, messes up my astrology.
Yeah, it's all kind of screwed up. I mean, there's a lot going on. You know what I mean? I mean, bad. So anyway, I keep interrupting you. Tell why you have these two birthdays. That's what you were trying to say.
Okay, so I was born March 1st, and my mother was she was visiting her family in Palestine. That's originally where I'm from. I'm Palestinian, so Palestinian American. And my mother was on vacation visiting her family. She was there for an extended period of time. And basically, I was born on March 1st, but I wasn't recognized because I had an American citizenship, or my parents were American. Mm-hmm. So they wouldn't give me a birth certificate. They wouldn't recognize me as just being alive as a person, I guess. So later on, I received a birth certificate from Jordan 3 months later, and that's how I got the June birthday.
That's how I got two birthdays.
That's how I got two birthdays. So it's a weird story. I mean, I think stuff like that was always a little petty, like.
Do you put both those birthdays on Facebook?
No, I don't.
Which one do you use on Facebook?
June.
Because
it makes me younger. 3 months.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, smart move. Yeah. That's why you're an engineer, bro. That's why you're an engineer. You're smart like that. You know what I mean?
But yeah, like I think that the issue like with Palestinians and Israelis, like, see, this wouldn't have happened to an Israeli citizen, but it happened to me because my mother's family and my mother, they were Palestinians, but they were, so basically they were technically Israeli citizens, but not really. Second degree citizens, if that makes any sense.
Kinda.
So they're considered residents.
Right.
But they don't have the same restrictions or they have harsher restrictions than the Israelis who live like next door.
Wow.
So, and that's what people are dealing with now over there. If they're even lucky, if you're lucky, you're at that point.
And when you say over there, you're talking about in Israel?
I call it Palestine, but
okay. No, okay. So yeah, like no, this is something else.
Speaking,
yeah. I want to get your opinion about this. Like because I just kind of learned about this and it was just like very fascinating the way that all shook out. So, if you want to talk a little bit about it, you can. I already kind of have a question, and so it's more of a solution. So if you want to kind of just talk kind of freely about what's going on, like, you know what I mean? I mean,
it's a situation that really had molded me as an individual throughout my life. So, talking about it is, I'd love to, speak my mind about how this affected me. And it didn't really, I think it affected me positively and negatively, right? Again, it molded me into who I am today, right?
Yeah.
My family as well. But yeah, they have on my mother's side and my father's side, they have family that lives in Palestine, both in the West Bank, which is the
along the river, right?
Along the
shoreline.
Yeah, the shoreline.
Yeah.
And there's a part that's inward as well, and that's kind of so the shoreline is going to be Gaza. I don't really have any family in that area, but West Bank, it's on the west.
Right.
But yeah, it's segregated from that area, and I have a lot of and by the way, my family that lives on that part, that area is they don't have that residency permit or whatever
They don't have
call
anything.
it. No, they don't. They have just the Palestinian, forms or whatever information, and but they're all very highly educated. They're doctors and lawyers, and they go
to school over there.
Yeah, they went to a lot of them have gone to school like in like Russia or in like Ukraine or this place or this, that, and the third, and they just have to come back. But things have gotten a little bit more difficult for people to actually travel and go study abroad.
Right.
But they always have to come back, right? So they just created their own life. So the people that actually live in the West Bank have it better than the people that live in occupied Palestine, which is Israel, in Jerusalem, like my mother's
because they
family.
made it.
Because they're not technically, they are restricted to that area, but they do whatever they want.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still occupied, right? To an extent, but it's not like the actual Jerusalem where it's tough to it's tough for them.
Right.
So, yeah, man. I mean, I guess my grandparents, they basically during the original Nakba, they left Nakba. They call it the Nakba, and that's when it was like 1948. They refugee to Jordan.
Yeah.
And so technically, I'm Jordanian. I'm Jordanian American.
Okay.
So
because that's where your birth certificate was at, right?
Yeah, and my citizenship, that's what it was.
But your parents aren't, right?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, because that's where I was staying at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. Yeah. Sorry.
And my father actually was he was an engineer. So my dad was lucky enough to be able to come to the U.S. to study.
Right.
And he came to university and he graduated in 1984 as an aerospace engineer from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona.
Uh-huh.
And he went back and worked for the Air Force as an engineer for a few years and realized like this wasn't going to take the family any further than that. And,
right.
I mean, man, being in the military in those countries, technically third world countries, it's
not as cool.
Well, I mean, what are your benefits, man? How are you gonna send, if you want to send your kids to school, if you want a better life for your family, how are you gonna survive on, let's say, $500 a month?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, of course, cost of living, inflation, all that bullshit, but at the same time, there's no way.
Right.
There's no way, So made the decision to leave and come to the U.S. and that's when he worked with United. Or Continental at the time, now United.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I was constantly living in different countries.
How many countries have you lived in?
Man, I lived here in Houston. I lived in Houston, so the U.S. I lived in Qatar. I lived in Abu Dhabi, or not Abu Dhabi. They live in the UAE now. I lived in Saudi Arabia. So I spent a majority of my adolescence in Saudi Arabia. So from 8th grade till I graduated high school, I was in Saudi Arabia, which was amazing, by the way. Great experience. I went to an American school.
Oh, wow.
American embassy school, and I met the most amazing people. And they were all from different backgrounds. We had people that were military, their parents were in the military, U.S. military, that were going to the school, and we had people that were just from different backgrounds. Saudis,
did everybody seem to get along?
Everybody was getting along. Again, I had a small class, so my graduating class was like 70 people.
And mine was 82. So
yeah, so it wasn't a big class, but everybody was friends.
And maybe that's just because it was small, like what I mean, like relative to what I'm saying. Like so, it was like maybe like 500 people in a high school or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
it almost kind of like it's like having a small town like school in like the middle of I guess is it a military base? I think?
No. So it was in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh. So Riyadh's the capital of Saudi Arabia, and no, it was just
It's just an American school.
Yeah, just an American school. We had like National Guard around it, 24/7. You have to go through checkpoints to get into the school every morning.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy, but you get used to it. That's the
yeah.
great thing. You get used. My first year there, I man, it was mind blowing for me. Like I was like, I couldn't because I came from the U.S. I came from Houston. I was in like 7th grade.
Oh wow.
And it was changing. My whole life just changed. But it's so again going back to my father is in the aviation industry. So he worked with the airlines, and around the time when we made the move to Saudi Arabia was a few years out. It was in 2004 or 2003. It was a few years after the whole 2000 and 9/11.
Yeah.
Because that made things very difficult on Muslims in the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I didn't really notice it because I'm a male. It was probably harder on like females or older males.
Right.
But for me, I was like, I didn't really see anything. I was the only Muslim in my school in Houston. I was the only Arab, not even Muslim. I was the only Arab.
What?
In my school in Houston.
In Houston?
Houston, yeah. I used to live in Spring, Texas.
That's crazy.
One of my best friends,
Slim
he was
Thug?
a year older than me. Yeah, Slim Thug.
No.
was Baby Bash, He used to.
Yeah. I know Baby Bash.
Actually, he used to live in the neighborhood across from me in Spring,
no
Texas.
way. That's crazy.
I'll never forget that. That's funny. But yeah, one of my best friends, he was a year older than me. So he went to high school, and I was still in middle school at the time. So it was just me.
Yeah. Wow.
I was the only Arab, and it was crazy, man. People always thought I was either like Puerto Rican or like Mexican or.
So did you just learn did you learn Spanish?
No,
Oh.
I didn't even bother, man.
You're like, well, like you can have whatever you like.
Oh man. So yeah, man, it was tough, and I guess we started seeing things, going south or I didn't see things. My father saw things going south in that industry, and he was like, hey, I got to take a leap of faith and, take an external job somewhere, and it was the best move he's ever made.
Well, I mean, so like, I don't know if we were talking about this before we started recording, but, we were talking about you being a risk taker. I mean, that's kind of a risk taken.
That was a big risk for him.
You know what I mean? So I think, there might be a certain level of y'all are a little bit more similar than you think.
I guess thinking about it as you say that, yeah, that's actually very true because that was a big risk for him, right?
Yeah.
Going to a whole different country. But he was doing that constantly, right?
Yeah.
So I guess from a young age, him leaving the military as an engineer and coming to the U.S. was a risk in itself.
Yeah.
So I guess I do get it from him.
Yeah. Is he gonna would he watch something like this or listen to this?
Definitely. Okay. He definitely watch something like this.
Shout out to Dad. Look, he learned
Love you,
something.
Bubba.
Like he learned something. See what I mean? Make sure I'm still.
So,
yeah, we're good on time. I keep checking my watch for time. I'm not trying to be rude. And plus, it lets me know if the camera's still going. So
we're still good.
Yeah. We're still rolling. I haven't messed anything up yet, so that's good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Wow. Well, dude, that was like, when I was thinking about like having you on the things I wanted to talk about, I was like, well, how do I get into these delicate subjects? And it just kind of just rolled, and that's like really great. You know what I mean?
Because they all just kind of, like I said, they're interconnected. Everything just kind of falls in place, and
yeah.
And I guess every part of my life, from a young age to now,
Yeah.
One way or another, influenced me. Period. And my family influenced me, and the things that were happening around us influenced me, even though I didn't realize that it was.
Yeah.
So like, even though like when we went to Saudi Arabia in 2000, and I think it was 4 or 5, I can't pinpoint it, and I didn't really want to do that. I was gonna leave all my friends.
Right.
You're in middle school. You can't wait to go to high school and have a locker.
Yeah.
And like, that I was so hyped about that. Like that was a thing that I wanted. I wanted a locker. Okay.
Hey,
I was
Norm, right?
Yeah.
So Norm was on the podcast, and he said that when he went to high school, that he expected to get stuffed in his locker. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah.
Like, did you?
That was a worry, but I was an extremely skinny guy, so.
So like you're like, oh, I'm gonna fit. They're gonna really, they're gonna fit me in there, right? Yeah, but yeah, you get excited about having a locker. So I'm assuming. So when you got overseas, did you have a locker? Was it like? But it was just because it was not your friends and not all the people, right?
Yeah, it was different. It was was different just the first year, and then I started getting used to it and got to know everybody, and it was crazy because I'll never forget. There was a girl. Her name was Taqwa. So if you ever watch this, Taqwa, shout out to you. You made me feel welcomed whenever I came in high school. So
Are y'all still friends?
I mean, we haven't spoken, but
Yeah.
we still follow each other on social media.
Yeah.
So
It makes it easy.
yeah, it makes it easy.
Yeah.
And why not? I loved all of them.
Yeah.
Honestly, they were
Yeah.
all great people, and it made me who I am today. And I'm happy, as an individual. So
It's really weird. Like, I tell me if you agree with this, that like, as you get older, you should really learn how like not to fight those things. You know what I mean? Like when you're in high school and you're kind of fighting like the peer pressure of everything and blah, blah, blah. Like as you get older, you realize what's important, kind of what's not, right?
yeah.
And so would you say that that's kind of that's the maturing process that's like going on with you when you reminisce about these things, or does that make sense?
No, and it's true, because I think, like, for example, that specific moment of me dreading going to that school,
Right.
I was welcomed with open arms by everybody. And my biggest, your biggest worry at that age is, am I going to fit in? I want to have friends. I want to I want to fit in. And like as soon as I walked into school and she's like, oh, hey, this is who I am, and like introduced me to everybody.
Right.
And that was so, like, a person didn't have to do that. She was, by the way, valedictorian of our graduating class too.
Really?
So that energy, she gave out that energy of like, so that's an individual that made an impact on my life, and she probably doesn't know that. But she impacted me at that time, and it was just enough for me to remember forever.
But and you recognize it.
And I recognize it.
Because I would think that possibly a lot of people experience those things, but they don't take the time to notice them and recognize them. Does that make sense?
That's true.
It's like acknowledging, like maybe that your dad, that you're a little bit more tonight, like, you know what I mean? You've recognized it. So now it changes that story.
It changed it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? That's cool.
Do you need to have that I guess dialogue with someone in order for you to realize what actually might have impacted you and what didn't? Like, I didn't really realize that he was such a risk taker, but now talking about it with you, I do realize that that's what it is. That's the case.
It's just different. It's a different time. You know what I mean? It's a different time.
So
where were the better looking? This sounds so creepy. Where were the better looking middle school girls when you were like in Houston? Like, were you excited about going to high school because there were hot girls in Houston?
that was definitely what I was thinking. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to go. Because, okay, again, small school, 400 or 500 people versus huge high school, thousands of people.
Yeah.
So your ratio or your odds are going to be
tilted.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But man,
you probably
everybody the women that were in my school, they were all beautiful, honestly. Like,
well, and
I'm not saying that as like a,
No. Well, I would guess in that smaller unit, it's more about. There's more about relationships than it is when it's like so big.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? Because like, when I think about like my high school and how small it was, there's just the intertwine of like relationships and stuff that you don't get at a big level. Like when there's more than like, 1,000 kids in a school or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
And so maybe you got more genuine people.
And that's why I enjoyed it so much, is that everybody was like so different. Yet we were all able to kind of just learn from each other, even though...
because for whatever reason, y'all all were there.
We're all there.
Right?
We're all there. And everyone's family was like, okay, maybe they were a lot of us had very similar cultural backgrounds because we were Arabs. Mm-hmm. But our parents all came from different family dynamics.
Right.
So... and we all got along, and we had such a great time, man. Like, I don't regret David. I'm so happy that he made that move, man. I'm so happy that he made that move. Like, I don't think I could have had a better upbringing in that time, period.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Like, if you look back at these times and you smile, I think that's a win.
Yeah.
That's a win.
I think that we're not all so lucky to have good memories as children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to me, that's kind of my number one focus with my daughters, just trying to not to have as many bad memories as possible, have as much good memories as I possibly can, because I'm not perfect, but I want her to remember her childhood kind of the way you do, right?
Yeah.
The way I do. That's the way I feel about mine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel really lucky. You know.
I think you're a great dad.
Hey, thanks.
You know what I mean? You're an open-minded individual, and that's important. You know, like me coming here and you taking in all this information, which is.
I hope you're not giving me a quiz or anything.
No. Maybe I should.
Hang on a second. Let me see what I got time wise. Okay. You know what? Yeah. Okay. So I've just really quickly give me, just a little short. What do you, and we're jumping like way back.
Let's do it.
What do you think is the solution for the people, Palestine or Israel? You said they weren't Jews. They're what?
Okay, so I think there is a difference between Zionists and Jews.
Okay, so explain that real quick. And then what I want to know is, whatever the tension is, like what's going on, what do you think the solution is for those people? I want to know what you think.
So, difference between Jews and... So, a Jewish person is just a person that believes or follows a certain faith.
Right.
Right? That preaches whatever they preach, right? Versus Zionists, their mindset is what you see in Israel. Of, hey, we're here. God told us we have to be here. We're going to have to, forcefully remove everybody out because God wanted us to be here.
Right.
I mean, come on. What if that is true? Like, how can that be true? How?
Right.
Like, how can God want you to force or kill and execute and slaughter people out of somewhere that they've lived all their lives? Why? How's that okay? Like, how's that? Like, I don't believe that this is what Judaism teaches, and it doesn't.
Just total sidebar. It sounds like something that could happen in the U.S., right?
Yeah, I mean, it could.
Right? You know what I mean? Like,
well, what did we do when we came to conquer this side of the world?
Yeah. Or like, hey guys,
get the fuck out.
Yeah, basically, right? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're like, you're like, excuse me, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take this.
It wasn't okay then.
This is awkward.
Now we're in the 21st century. How can we be okay watching this happen?
Right.
Like apartheid. Like, that's the only place that's happening in the whole world, man.
Yeah.
The only place. And we're watching it. Like, you've probably seen that it's catching a lot of like social media attention now, right?
Yeah.
And it's, again, it's an ongoing situation that's been happening for years. So how can we allow this? And that's why a lot of people are not lashing out, but calling them out for what's happening, because a lot of people weren't able to see what was going on, or know what was going on.
Right.
Like, did you know that this was happening there?
No, like I think I told you that in kind of preparation for you coming on. I talked to Tom. Everybody that knows me knows Tom.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to kind of understand a little bit more deeper what's going on. And then when he told me everything, I was like, oh wow, this is way heavier. And I had no idea. And so that was what was so great about bringing you on, because it was actually shout out to Tom. It was his question of, how do you solve this problem?
And Tom is, by the way, if you guys don't know him, he's a very well-traveled and educated individual. So he knows a lot about certain topics. Like,
we just keep not accidentally, but I mean, we can just keep talking about Tom. And it's just like we're just building him up to come on the podcast.
He has to come on.
No, but that's what everybody says. Everybody goes, Tom has to come on the podcast, and I think that's so great. I would
love to sit here and have a conversation with you and Tom on the podcast.
Oh yeah, well maybe I'll make Tom. Tom won't guest host. You won't guest host Tom.
He needs to.
Yeah. Anyways, go ahead. So finish what you're saying, and then I just want to know your thoughts.
So yeah, so again, there's a difference between the two. I have a lot of friends that are Jewish, and we both understand, and they're against it, But so Zionists, like for example Israelis, they will allow anybody to come in, as long as they're not Arab, to come in, and they'll give them land, they'll give them a place to stay, they'll give them a salary or an allowance, whatever you want to call it. to live there and become, just to occupy, put more and more people into that area, into settlements, which are illegal, by the way, under international law. Settlements are
Right.
They're illegal.
Right.
I mean, this, how can we allow this apartheid to continue happening and in the name of religion? Like,
Yeah, well, it goes back to what you were saying in the beginning. That's not how you treat people,
it's not how you treat people.
right?
And like, for example, like the whole ISIS thing, by the way, I'm just going to bring this up a little tap because that's not what they're claiming. It's in the name of, that is not in the name of
Anything.
That's
It's the name of bad.
Barbarianism. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's barbarians. Like,
it's another example of just a group of people doing really bad stuff.
Really bad stuff,
You know,
man.
and there's lots of groups of those people, but yeah, it's just another group just trying to mess things up
To
for
mess
everybody
things
else.
up, exactly. And you know what? I think that Israel is just more of a strategic
They're like
point in the Middle East for.
they're like cowboys back in the day. But cowboys, like in the, what was that, Tombstone, where they wear the red sash, you know what I'm talking about? Like those cowboys, the ones that were causing hell, not like the Lone Ranger
The cool
and shit.
cowboys.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
So yeah, man. That's lost my train of thought for a
But
second.
no, I'm
yeah,
saying,
like that's-
so what is your, how do we solve this? What do you think?
Well, what they tried to do, and both sides were, again, like, it didn't work out, was a two-state solution, right? Mm-hmm. And just having two different states.
Right.
And it didn't work out because this side feels like they were abused, which they were, which is the Palestinian side, and families were torn apart and just thrown into the wild, right? Versus this side says that it's religion, and religion says we have to take all of this land. So they're not going to come to any agreement. It's just building up anger, and then they're teaching their kids to hate Arabs. Like, you see it, and like, how can these people not hate the person that's occupying them, the occupiers? So it's just bad blood over bad blood over bad blood, and there's no solution that can come out of it, unless there's an external force that forces the solution, which hasn't happened, right?
Right.
So you'd have to go back to, there was like the 68 borders where there was more land it was like almost like a 60-40 split, I think, for the Palestinians, 40 for the Palestinians, 60 for the Israelis. And that negotiation was gone. And that's actually the only way to really get back to it. It would have to go back to that split, and they take a portion and they take a portion. And that's it. So a two-state solution, but an evenly split two-state solution. But like a Palestinian power that would be able to have an army, be able to defend themselves, free market, like free trade. They have none of that, How can they grow as a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like as a country, as a people,
Right.
if they don't have these basic necessities of, free trade and education and
It's
rights, basic rights.
It's funny how in like 1948, like everybody got involved in the business over there, and then like now they're just kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
bounce.
why doesn't everybody just get involved again and just go like, look, y'all gonna split this 50-50. Hey, we messed up back in 1948.
Here's what the deal is.
Here's what the deal is. But it's like,
But then it goes deeper than that, right? If you think about it, okay, if they did that, what about the people at that time that owned a certain amount of land, a large amount of land, that can no longer have that land because it's on the other side?
Well, I mean,
there's pros and cons, right?
I mean, yeah,
there
I guess
has to be a solution. Though.
Well,
it's better than the killing and all that stuff. Though.
Yes, one, yes, but two, I guess I didn't think of it that deep, and then you just threw that at me, and I was like, ooh, yeah, he's got a point. Yeah, but I don't know, but I mean, like, once again, it's kind of like everybody else like helped decide this, and maybe it wasn't a good solution. Why aren't we all like jumping in again? And we seem to like to do that kind of stuff. be involved in other people's business.
I think like the U.S. though is like they have an interest,
And it being
a common interest with the Israeli power that it's a strategic point in the Middle East.
Yeah,
being there, having an ally in that area. So, it goes deep, man. It goes
unfortunate.
Deep. Unfortunate. But there definitely has to be a solution. I mean, people can't live that way. And that being the only place in the world that still has apartheid, like, there has to be change. And I think change is coming. I do think things are happening both on the bad, on the negative side, and on the positive side.
Well, I think
the exposure itself is doing some work.
I think that this world that we live in now, that's like so incredibly connected, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard not to know like everything. You know what I mean? Like everything that's going on everywhere. And so you're going to find more voices and more people. And
they're going to speak up.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And like,
tie it back to religion for a second, right?
Yeah.
So you say everything's connected, and I'm going to go back to religion and like, okay, with my faith and I'm just a true believer of if I can put out good energy and I can remember, even by praying every now and then, that there is something greater than myself. And that's really what it is. It's seeing something from a different perspective. Then I think that's how you win in life, like how you actually, or when you have, for example, you have a daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to teach her that to be a good person overall. I don't know if you want to like, are you just going to like specify like a religion to her, or
no.
You just want, see, I've seen that's very common in like a lot of people that I know now too.
Well, I fancy myself to be a believer, right? And I try really hard to be the best person I could possibly be.
Yeah.
In the belief of that. But Erin doesn't go to church or study the word or do any of that kind of stuff. And I don't bother her and she doesn't bother me, and at times I'll go to her and go, hey, will you say a prayer with me? And she's like, yeah. You know what I mean? She's just being supportive of me.
Yeah.
And I think that, she embodies a lot of what I think a really good person is, or what a really good Christian is, by the way she carries herself. So that the fact that she doesn't define it in that way, she acts like that to people. I mean, you kind of said it, like, when she came in, she's very accommodating and like, and wants you to make you feel at home and stuff like that. Like that's the environment I wanted when people come in. You know what I mean?
She has an amazing energy.
Yeah. And so that to me, like that's whatever you're talking about, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
And it's true.
Yeah. Like, surrounding yourself with good people, you can't surround yourself with crappy people and expect to have a good time.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And again, that's why I think that I had luckily I had such a good upbringing, was I was around amazing people. Of course, there's a few people here and there that, I didn't really get along with.
But,
normal.
But that's just life.
But overall, I think things have been good, and it's that energy, man. You just got to put it out there.
Yeah. So this is like perfect, because I usually, you better not have messed up, camera. Oh, come on. What are you doing? Sorry, technical difficulties. Oh my gosh. He's still going? Oh, what is... hang on. Sorry, Mo. Sorry, everybody. We're just hoping we still have film. Yes. Maybe we can edit that out or something along with that eBay signal. They went off on my iPad. So what I like to do is I usually like to wrap stuff up with just kind of like, and this is like, once again, we're just leading right into this subject. What do you do to create moderation in your life and manifest good energy and put out good energy? Like, what is your process in keeping that balance so that, that you can be this best version of yourself?
That's a good question. So for me, I believe that, I guess I could give you an example of a certain situation.
However you want to do it, bro.
Leading up to my finals before graduation, I was extremely stressed out, extremely difficult courses. But I knew that I was going to succeed in them, right? but I had to put some action behind it of actually working on it, even though it was extremely difficult for me. And I've always been an average student. Put a lot of effort into it. I tried to like cleanse myself of any negativity at all.
And what does that mean? Like, did you get off social media?
I did get off social media, but I'm not really like very active on social media ever in general.
Did you not go out?
I did not go out at all.
Yes.
And I got a little bit of backlash from my friends, you know.
Yeah.
They still love me though.
Yeah, I mean,
but I had to focus on something that's important to me.
Yeah.
And it was that. And
your
man,
real friends will understand.
Yeah. And they're still around, the ones that understand, you know?
That's right.
So I focused on that. And as long as you can just kind of take yourself out of that box that you're in and try to harness an energy by, again, putting in action to work towards that. And at the same time, I think that I was doing a lot of like, you know, positive things. I did pray during that period as well.
Like you're 5 times a day?
Not 5 times a day.
But I mean, you just try to pray as much as you can.
I prayed as much as I can. And it was actually like every night. Like I would pray every night. And
do you view that as like a form of like kind of meditation?
Absolutely. That's what it is. It's meditation.
Yeah.
So basically I meditated every night and just put myself in a zone of focus, and it worked. And that's what I've only learned that recently. I didn't know that I could even do that. And it worked. And I've actually I've tried it in different scenarios. And it has worked. It just has worked. Like if I get stuck in a tough situation and I'm not sure how to get out of it, I'll just go back to my method. And usually the next day something will happen just because I'm putting it out there in the universe, like ding, 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 ding. I need to solve this. I need to solve this. I need to solve this. Boom, gets resolved. Just happens. So I'm a true believer in that manifestation, man.
And so, what is your theory? Your theory on why that happens is because it's the energy that you're putting out, how you're treating people.
Yes, just the energy you're putting out in general.
Right.
Positive energy, extreme focus, actually putting action towards whatever you're trying to pursue, whether it's a relationship, whether it's education, whether it's financial goals. I think those are important. And you know, actually, I learned something recently from just this YouTube channel, a motivational YouTube channel that I watch all the time. And the best way to achieve certain goals, both financially, in relationships, in family, and in faith, whatever you want, you have to actually like write them down, put where you're at and where you want to pursue, and look at it every day. Not alone. When you look at it, you remind yourself constantly like, hey, this is where I want to be at. And you're putting it out there by doing that alone. And then you just put some action behind it. Again, I keep saying that. Put some action, but you have to put some action behind it.
So I don't know. I have no idea how you're going to answer this question. Do you watch a lot of TV?
Not really. I do like to watch TV before I go to sleep.
But like you don't watch? Do you watch shows? Like do you have shows you watch?
Yeah, I have shows that I enjoy watching.
But like, does all your other stuff come first? Like working on the app,
Absolutely.
like all your focus that you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Like TV, it's when you're kind of like just I really don't want to get anything done today, or I just have a little bit of time, so I might watch some TV.
That's my winding down. Is I'll throw on some TV, maybe listen to some music. And
the reason I kind of brought that up is because in doing the podcast, that's kind of what's like happened to me, right? Like I'm not watching as much TV. I'm just more thinking about like, how can I make this cool and what can I do?
Yeah.
And I feel like you feel that energy, you know what I mean? And that's been a cool byproduct for me from this experience.
Actually, when I walked in here, maybe the third time, I saw you do something that I thought was pretty cool.
What was that?
And it was, you were basically harnessing your pre-podcast energy. That was awesome, dude. And I felt it in there. I felt it in here.
Yeah, hey, but that,
you know?
Well, cause so what Mo's talking about is I have a playlist that I listen to before the podcast starts, and it's called my playlist. If you follow me on Spotify, it's on there. But the first song on there is "Mama Said Knock You Out," and that song, like when it comes on, it's like, "Come on, man!" And I'm just like, yes.
See, that's that energy. You bring it to
and
yourself.
so like that
It's
whole
beautiful.
playlist is songs that just like motivate me for like whatever reason. But it's a sort of you know, no one that's really going to call it like this, but it is sort of a meditation at the beginning before I start to get focus. And I think that meditation is a type of focusing, right? Your brain's busy. We're trying to gain focus. So if you're doing a lot of prayer then that time, then you're going to be like really, really focused, right?
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
Again, meditation. So prayer is technically a form of meditation.
Well, I mean, it just makes sense, right? Like you do workouts for your body, you eat good. Well, shouldn't you do something for your brain?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Don't you want to do something for your brain?
I forgot to mention the most important part
Of what?
of what really also molded me as an individual.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Working out, man, fitness.
Yeah.
I started that when I was 16 because I was tired of being the skinny guy. Also, I got beat up. So
So
that one time.
Did you ever think of like learning like martial arts or?
So my dad was actually a 3rd-degree black belt. So he would teach us martial arts in the house.
But you're like,
taekwondo.
But you're like, I need some muscles.
I said I needed some muscles because that's enough of a deterrent at a young age. So yeah, I was like the fit guy in school, and ever since then, that's just been it's been the perfect place for me to go and just kind of like blow steam, and that's where I met you.
Yeah. I just really think that I think if you really try hard to do your best at all the things, so try to get good sleep, try to hydrate yourself, try to go work out, right? Try to de-stress, just try to apply them all on some level.
Yeah.
You might find that you lean into some more than others, but that the others, the small ones, even if you don't think they're doing anything, they're doing something.
They're doing something.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like try to like push much as that balance as you can of all those things. Like try to get in. That's what I talk about, like in the like on my website or like through my life coaching stuff or on the podcast. Like push to the middle. Like try to get it all as much good stuff as you can to the middle.
See, and like with the whole fitness deal, I harnessed that energy of, hey, let me put the same amount of time and effort that I put into working out at that time, which was I was 17 or 18 years old, to my education. And I put that energy, that amount of energy that I was putting into working out, and it worked. I was able to complete my degree successfully.
Right.
And I've always been an average student, so it was a little bit difficult for me.
Forgive me. The whole time you were talking, all I did is got this vision of like 7th grade year old you, and you're like walking down the hallway, and like you put on your headphones, and it's like, come on, man, and you're fixing to go steal like pencil cases, like you're getting pumped up. You're like, don't call it a comeback.
Oh
you're
my
like,
God!
I gotta get that Pepsi one today. Sorry, but no. But I think what you're saying is that a lot of that was in like it was part of you, and it might have been mirrored by your dad, but it was inside you a little bit as well, right?
It was.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, man, did you have a good time?
Oh, I had a great time. Thank you for having me. This is amazing.
Do you feel silly for having any kind of nerves at all?
You know, I've just always.
No, I say this all the time. I'm just giving you a hard time. Like I think
I do feel
set
silly
of
for having it.
no. A good set of butterflies is good. It means that you care. You know what I mean? Like you're excited.
It was excited. That's what it is. It was like
Yeah.
It was anxiously excited.
I'm just
That's
always
what it was.
I'm just always amazed that like all my friends are like anxiously excited to talk to me when we talk like this all the time.
True.
Right? Like, you know, so far it's been like pretty easy to talk to people because I do have similar conversations with people. It's the people that I don't really know as well that like, you know, I want to tap into more and try to have more people on that I don't kind of know.
Yeah.
And seeing if we can create the same kind of like magic. You know what I mean? But I learned a lot today. I learned a shit ton today.
I think this was.
I learned a lot more about you today.
Yeah.
Just you as a person. I mean, you know what I mean?
I bet you didn't know a couple of those things.
No,
huh?
I didn't. There was a lot of that stuff I kind of know. Because, I mean, like we said, we met at the gym and we have a lot of mutual friends. But, like, and we kind of just talk and BS. But we never talked about, like, anything like we had some pretty serious kind of subjects we covered there. I mean, it's not
I feel like we can go for. We can go for.
It's not like we're out, like, celebrating or doing something. You're like, so, like, this Palestine stuff. Like, what do you think? I'm like, you know, like, can you just get another shot? Or
See, that's the thing is, like, I feel like we can go on those specific topics longer.
Oh, yeah.
But it's so hard to just, like, you know.
Yeah,
get into one.
And apparently I'm working back to like having people come back on, like because everybody's kind of said like, hey, I want to come back, or we could spend a whole hour about this subject or whatever, and then it'd be cool to bring people back that were in the very beginning that it wasn't quite like this in here too. You know what I mean? It wasn't,
this is awesome.
Thank you.
Did some great work in here.
I appreciate it.
Like it's comfortable to actually
Yeah, that's kind of that's supposed to
perfect.
Like you're supposed to feel comfortable to talk. You know what I mean?
It feels like a moderately good podcast.
It's moderately good. Hey, do you want to before we go? Do you want to plug your app one more time?
Absolutely.
You might. Hey, just let's see if the camera's still going. Yeah, we're good. Just walk up to like the camera right there and just kind of like show your shirt.
Let me tuck
Yeah.
Show you guys. Okay, that's it. That's all you gotta see. Right here.
Okay, but then say what it is. Say what it is too. So
Go Bubble mobile detailing application on demand, straight from your phone, car wash right to your house.
right,
Simple as that.
yeah. So it's basically like you don't have to go to the car wash. The car wash comes to you.
Car wash comes to you. And right now, currently, we're just based in Austin. So soon, we'll be national, manifesting it.
There you go.
International.
International. Dang, that's big.
Hey, that's what we're shooting for, right?
Yeah, I mean they got Uber in other places. You know what I mean? So,
they do.
Well, my man, hey, I appreciate you. Come on, give
Thank
me a
you
big
for
hug real
having me.
quick.
This was amazing.
Yeah, here. Bring it in, dude.
I love it.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
This was amazing.